only personally, but on behalf of all of my colleagues at the University of Idaho, a word of welcome and a thanks for turning out for this annual event which reaffirms the best of Latah County and the best of Idaho. I wonder if you would indulge me if I ask my colleagues from the University of Idaho, including Provost Kathy Aiken and Chief Diversity Officer and Associate Provost Carmen Suarez, and the rest of our faculty emeriti, staff, and students who are here, to just stand and show what the University of Idaho's president is. Students represent 12 different student organizations at the University of Idaho that are devoted to one element or another of our diversity effort. We believe at the University of Idaho that, contrary to some political discourse and even opinion in higher education, that there is not a trade-off between excellence and diversity in education. Excellence and diversity go together. And there is no excellence without diversity. For that reason, the United States Supreme Court even recently has affirmed that diversity is a compelling state interest upon which public policy can be founded. We have made some progress, and yet there is much left to be done at the University of Idaho. But we're proud of the fact that if you take Bureau of Labor Statistics and Bureau of Census Statistics together and view the demographic composite of the state of Idaho, it is nearly 94%, 93-point-something% white, or to put it another way, only about 6% people of color. But at the University of Idaho, it's nearly 20% people of color. And that is due to creating a welcoming environment and making recruiting efforts, not only toward diversity per se, but as I mentioned in a Friday letter not long ago, recruiting first-generation college students. The University of Idaho is known for having one of the longest-running women's centers in the country since 1971. And our camp program has been assessed as one of the top 10 such programs of its kind in the United States. We're a little bit chagrined when we are reminded of how late the state of Idaho was in coming to the official designation of the day to recognize Dr. King and to broaden the recognition to include human rights. But I think we have some other things to be proud of. I brought a prop up here and I'm going to show it to you in a moment. But there is a list that was published in the Journal of Blacks in Higher Education that listed the first black graduates at flagship state universities. And yes, I did say flagship state universities. Listen to the first year in which flagship universities graduated their first African American students. Now, there will be some western states you won't hear: Utah, Washington, and Wyoming, and the researchers just couldn't find that data. But Arizona, 1935. Wow. Oregon, 1917. North Dakota, 1939. Nevada, 1930. Montana, 1922. California, 1905. All 20th century dates. And even in other states where you would think that the advance would have been earlier, such as Massachusetts, it was 1901. In New York, it was 1911. But at Idaho, the University of Idaho, Idaho's flagship university, it was 1899. We were in leave this up here. Many of you have seen this photo before when Les first came into the president's office the day before. You saw it right away. This is the graduating class of 1899. And second from right, in the front row, as you know, is Jenny Eva Hughes, who graduated in botany, Bachelor of Science degree, in 1899. Her parents almost certainly had been slaves and were emancipated came west, ultimately ended up in Moscow. Her father, or stepfather, was a successful business person running a barber shop and a restaurant. Julie Monroe, I don't know if Julie is here, has compiled much of this history, and she entitled an essay about it, The Triumph of Jenny Eva Hughes, who later took the name Smith when she was married. She stayed in Idaho for some time. They moved to a mining community, and then she thought it was a bit rough and tumble for raising children. So they moved to Spokane, where she lived the rest of her life. But I think we can be very proud of this legacy. And it is for that reason that our Office of Multicultural Affairs, as many of you already know, gives 2 awards every year, one to a male student, one to a female student, for their contributions to multicultural education and celebration of the multicultural dimensions of excellence. Jenny, was an astounding student. And